The story begins with 14-year-old Eddie. One night, she was trying to take her drunk parents home, when suddenly a police car started following them. Eddie panicked because she was underage. Scared, she quickly pulled the car over to the side. But that's when Eddie noticed something shocking. Her mother was carrying an illegal powder. If the police searched them, her parents would be thrown in jail. Eddie's father turned to her and said, "You can get us out of this." And unbelievably, Eddie did. She saved them. The scene then shifts many years forward. Now Eddie is at her friend's birthday party. But she has to leave soon because she's juggling school, a job, and late-night studies all at once. When she tries to pay, her card gets declined. On top of everything, just 7.5 months ago, she broke up with her boyfriend. And that's when a guy pulled up, flashing his car, trying to give Eddie his number. But her friend just laughed at him, making fun of the whole thing. The next morning, Eddie overslept. She was already running late for work, and to make things worse, her car wouldn't even start. She finally made it to work at a bank but late. And on this very day, robbers stormed inside. These thieves were nothing but amateurs. Eddie even tried to grab one of their guns, but before she could fight back, another robber struck her from behind, knocking her unconscious. When Eddie opened her eyes, she was in the hospital. She learned that the robbers had been caught. But her medical report revealed something else. Eddie was pregnant. The news left her completely stunned. She confided in her best friend, asking if she should tell her ex-boyfriend John about the baby. Eddie explained that she had actually seen him once, just 3 months ago. But her friend immediately warned her, "Don't even think about it. You need to keep this child away from him. John's a criminal." Eddie quietly replied, "So was I. We were kids. Everything we did together." But her friend refused. "I don't care about that. You've outgrown him, Eddie. Don't even think about going back." But Eddie couldn't stop herself. She skipped college classes and went straight to John's place. From inside, she heard loud noises. Someone was beating John. Eddie turned to leave, but she couldn't walk away. The people inside were asking John about someone, forcing Eddie to jump in and save John. Together, they barely escaped. While running, Eddie shouted, "Tell me, what have you done this time?" John, fully naked, sprinted straight into a nearby house. It used to belong to a friend of his. John hurriedly grabbed a pair of shorts to cover himself. But now strangers lived there. Just then, the same men chasing him showed up outside. And without mercy, they killed the people living in that house. Eddie and John grabbed the gun and bolted. In the pocket of John's borrowed shorts, they found a car key. They stole the car and took off. Eddie, a master behind the wheel, drove like a professional stunt driver. She weaved through traffic like a serpent, leaving John in awe. But Eddie was furious. "What did you do, John?" She was already regretting coming back to him. When she pressed him again, John finally led her to a hidden box. Inside was a man. At first, Eddie thought he was dead, but no, he was alive. His name was Leo, a skilled card player who worked for a dangerous man named Nico. John had kidnapped Leo. He wanted him to play a game, but Leo refused because he only worked for Nico. Eddie told John, "Take him back to Nico. Apologize and make things right." But on the way, Leo complained that he was hungry. On top of that, he was vegetarian. John stopped the car to get him food, but as soon as Leo stepped out, a speeding truck slammed into him, killing him instantly. Now there was no way John could apologize to Nico. Eddie exploded in anger. "I'm sick of cleaning up your messes. If I had a time machine, I'd go back to the moment before I ever met you." Right then, Eddie got a phone call. It was Nico. He knew her. In fact, he used to call her Eenie Meanie because of how mean she could be. And now, he wanted to see her. Eddie was furious with John. She hit him, warning him to keep his mouth shut. "From now on, I'll do the talking." That's when we learned the truth. 7 years earlier, Eddie had worked for Nico. She was one of his getaway drivers. Nico explained, "Your useless boyfriend messed up. I gave him a simple job, scout a house first. But he didn't. It turned out to be a surprise birthday party. Because of his mistake, one of my men got killed. And now he's gotten Leo killed too, someone who used to make me money. So John is going to pay for my losses." Nico then revealed his plan. "There's a poker tournament coming up at a casino. The prize money $3 million. Before the tournament, the money will be kept inside a car. That car is what you're going to steal. And you'll drive it out for me. It was the very job Eddie once excelled at. But Eddie flat out refused. Nico sighed. You've done plenty for me already. In return, I let you walk away clean. That's fine. But John doesn't get to walk. Bring me $3 million by next Friday, or he dies. Outside, John begged Eddie to help, but she wanted nothing to do with it. For 8 months I've been studying, working, and staying out of this life. I'm not going back. She regretted coming to him, regretted every choice. She had once hoped John would change, that he'd get better, but he never did. So Eddie walked away. But John called after her, "We're written in the stars, Eddie. We're meant to be together again." Those words sent Eddie spiraling into a panic attack. No matter how much she hated him, she couldn't let John die. So, reluctantly, Eddie went back to Nico and agreed to take the job. To prepare, she went to buy a car from the same guy who had once shown off his car outside the club. But just then his ex-wife arrived, furious. The man hadn't paid child support in months. Eddie turned to her and said, "I'm here to buy his car." Meaning, the money would now go straight to his wife. Eddie and John drove off with the car. They soon arrived outside a bar to meet the people Nico had told them about. But John, as always, got distracted. Seeing the place, he said, "They'll take a while to get here. Let's go inside and kill some time." Inside, John started clowning around, heading straight for the pool table. He put money down and announced, "Next turn is mine." But the players tossed his money aside. John picked it up again. "I said I'm next." Once more, they threw his cash to the floor. That was enough. John's temper exploded. He lunged at them and started a fight. Right then, Nico's men walked in. Their leader, a man named Chaperone, laid out the plan. In on the heist were not only Nico's crew but also the casino's head of security and the very organizer of the event itself. They explained to Eddie that the prize money would be kept in a special car, but that car would have no gas. Which meant, before the heist, they'd need to find the exact same model, prepare it, and secretly swap it with the casino's car. Eddie spoke up firmly. "Show me an exit strategy. I don't want innocent people getting hurt." The head of security replied, "The only possible route is to back the car out through the rear gate." Complicated, yes, but security is lighter on that side. John immediately asked, "And what about guns? Will we be armed?" All he cared about was protecting Eddie, but Eddie shifted the subject. That's when Chaperone pulled Eddie aside. He knew everything about her past, how she had once pulled off massive heists, even leading police cars and helicopters on a chase. Yet somehow, she had always survived. But Chaperone warned her, "Your boyfriend John is a liability. His recklessness ruins everything." Eddie quietly explained why she stood by him. "I met John when my life was at its lowest. My foster father tried to sell me off for some extra cash in a parking lot. 2 scumbags were circling me until John appeared. Without a second thought, he fought them off and saved me. From that day, I've been with him." She added, "That helicopter chase you just mentioned? John was driving that night, not me. I had been shot and passed out. He's the one who got us out alive, not my skills." The very next day, the crew staged a so-called accident to take down the casino's official car. Then, they found a duplicate model and had it modified. For the security cameras, they had another trick, switching the feed to night vision during the day, ensuring nothing would be recorded. John and Eddie checked into the hotel attached to the casino, staying close before the heist. That's when Eddie's eyes caught someone she hadn't expected: Perm. After her, he had become Nico's go-to-getaway driver. When she confronted him, Perm casually explained he was only there to celebrate with his girlfriend and her new car. But Eddie didn't believe a word of it. She immediately asked Chaperone why Perm was there. Nico wouldn't have sent him for nothing. But Chaperone claimed ignorance. Eddie then pressed Nico himself, but he too denied it. "He's not part of our plan." Eddie wasn't convinced. And when she spotted Perm's work car, her suspicions only grew stronger. So she told them plainly, "We need another driver." That's when she brought John to a large house. No one else lived there except her father, now confined to a wheelchair. There, Eddie also met a little girl named Sadie. Her father tried to lighten the mood, saying, I still drive sometimes. Most days, I forget I don't even have legs. Eddie explained the real reason for her visit, that she needed another driver for the casino job. But her father refused. No, I've built a life here. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't do this anymore. Eddie snapped. Yeah, right. You never showed up for me. 18 years, and not once did you come back. Her father's voice broke. I was an alcoholic. A drug addict. After losing your mother, after losing my legs, I couldn't handle anything. I couldn't even handle myself. That's why I pushed you away. He lowered his head. I'm sorry, Eddie. But Eddie stormed out, still furious. Later, sitting alone, she turned to John. No one has ever changed for me. My father, he changed for his new daughter, Sadie. You're still the same as you always were. But no matter what happens, John truly loves Eddie. To him, she is his entire life. He tells her, everything you asked, I tried. I stayed away from you. I left it all behind and even tried finding simple jobs. But you wanted me to become someone completely different, and I couldn't do that on my own. But maybe, just maybe, we could try it together. If we stayed together, maybe I could change. That night, they went back to their hotel. And there, Eddie finally told John the truth: she was pregnant. She quickly added, this doesn't change anything. But John shook his head. No, this changes everything. We're a family now. Eddie coldly replied, families don't rob casinos. John then leaned in, pressing his ear against her belly, pretending to listen for the baby. Eddie couldn't help but laugh at his silly attempt. But the next morning, when she woke up, John was gone. His things were gone too. Panicked, Eddie rushed to the casino searching for him. That's when she discovered John hadn't abandoned her. Instead, he had bought her a gift with his own money. A gold necklace with a baby charm. Seeing it, Eddie was overwhelmed with emotion. But she held herself together and said firmly, we need to focus. We have a heist to pull off. Eddie and John took their positions. Before the tournament ended, the casino loaded all the cash into the car. When the tournament finally wrapped, the winner celebrated, raising his arms in victory. At that moment, John rose from his position. But suddenly the same guys from the bar, the ones he fought earlier, showed up and started beating him. Security rushed in to break it up. And just then the car roared to life. Eddie was ready. She threw it into reverse and slammed her foot on the gas, tearing out of the casino. No matter how careful she was, some people got hurt in the chaos. But soon, it became clear John's fight was nothing but a distraction. A planned act to draw security away. Speeding through the casino, Eddie suddenly hit the brakes because a pregnant woman stepped into her path. She stopped to protect her, but luckily, the windows were bulletproof. Using every ounce of skill, Eddie powered through and escaped the casino. Now, all she had to do was shake the police. She drove head-to-head against squad cars, maneuvering with precision. But then, just as she feared from the start, Perm's car appeared. Perm opened fire on the police cars chasing her. But Eddie, risking herself, swerved in between, trying to shield the officers from his bullets. Once the cops were left behind, only Eddie and Perm remained. That's when a third car slammed into Perm. John had arrived just in time, forcing Perm away from Eddie. But in the chaos, John's car hit a ramp and launched into the air, soaring before crashing hard. Eddie dragged John out of the wreckage, shaken but alive. But in the meantime, Perm seized the casino car and fled with the money. Furious, Eddie later confronted him. Where's my money? That's when the truth came out. Perm had planned this all along, letting Eddie do the hard work while he swooped in to steal everything from her. Suddenly, John appeared from behind with a shotgun. But before he could act, Perm's girlfriend rammed her Tesla toward Eddie. Yet the car's sensors stopped it, refusing to run over a human. She backed away in defeat. And with that opening, John shot and killed Perm. That night, Eddie and John drove for hours, heading straight toward Nico. At dawn, they pulled over briefly, where Eddie picked up breakfast for John. John and Eddie began talking about their baby. John promised, I'll take care of everything. So the two of them set out to hand over the money. But instead of paying, reckless John pulled out a gun and shot the men. Eddie froze in shock, horrified at what he'd done. Why would you do that? She cried. John insisted, with this heist money, we can start over comfortably. But that was never what Eddie wanted. From the very beginning, all she dreamed of was a normal life. The weight of it suddenly hit John. He broke down, realizing his mistake. "I ruined everything again," he sobbed. Eddie tried to calm him, whispering, "Just stay quiet." But in that very moment, she pulled the trigger. Eddie never wanted to do this, yet she had no choice. Tears streamed down her face. No matter what had happened, she still loved John. Carrying the money, Eddie went to meet Nico. He told her, "You did the right thing. You killed John yourself. Otherwise, I would have tortured him to death." And there, Eddie revealed a shocking truth. It was Nico's own man, George, who had hired Perm to steal her money. Something even Nico hadn't known until now. Nico admitted, "George has been stealing from me for years. But I've never said a word, because he loves me. He takes care of me. That's why I let him be." In that moment, it became clear Eddie and Nico's stories were mirrors of each other. Eddie loved John, a man who ruined everything. Nico loved George, a man who kept stealing from him. Eddie took her share of the cut and walked away. But then suddenly, a gunshot rang out behind her. Nico had done exactly what Eddie did, killing his own lover, George. The scene then shifts forward in time. Eddie now runs an auto repair shop. She's raising John's baby, with the help of her best friend, living as a single mother. She has left everything behind. It's Christmas, and for the first time, Eddie is truly at peace. And with that, this story comes to an end. Friends, how did you like this explanation? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.